The air inside the temple felt ancient, heavy, as if the stone itself remembered a forgotten world. Rumi slowly looked around the enormous obsidian chamber, while lava glowed beneath cracks in the basalt floor. "Where are we?" she whispered. Jinu scanned the endless pillars disappearing into darkness. "This place, it's not Earth. Stay close. We don't know what lives here." Strange symbols covered the volcanic stone beneath their feet. Rumi crouched slightly, studying the glowing runes. Mira leaned closer beside her, watching the faint light spreading across the floor. "These symbols are ancient," Mira said quietly. Rumi ran her fingers just above the carvings. "They're reacting to something." Far across the chamber, Zoe noticed a massive structure between the towering pillars. A circular platform surrounded by enormous stone rings stood in the distance. "Do you see that?" Zoe asked. Jinu narrowed his eyes toward the structure. "Yeah, that must be the portal." The hunters moved cautiously across the cracked basalt floor, while the faint glow of lava pulsed beneath the stone. Jinu walked beside Rumi, his eyes fixed on the dark corners of the temple. "We should leave before something wakes up," he said quietly. Rumi shook her head. "No, this place brought us here for a reason." A deep silence filled the temple. The portal platform stood motionless across the chamber. Zoe crossed her arms nervously. "I don't like this place." Mira watched the shadows between the pillars. "Neither do I." Suddenly, the runes beneath Rumi's boots began glowing brighter. A faint red light spread through the carved symbols across the basalt floor. Rumi stared down at the glowing stone. Why are these symbols lighting up? Across the chamber, the ancient portal mechanism suddenly moved. The massive stone ring surrounding the gateway began rotating slowly. Crimson energy flickered inside the center of the portal. Jinu's voice dropped. "The portal is activating." Mira frowned in confusion, but nobody touched it. Red light flooded the temple walls as the vortex began forming inside the gateway. Zoe stepped closer to Rumi. "Rumi, look." Rumi watched the swirling energy grow stronger. "Something is happening." Lightning spiraled through the portal like a violent storm, but inside the crimson vortex, something moved. Mira's voice turned tense. "That's not just energy." Jinu stared into the storm. "Something is inside." Then a massive claw forced its way through the swirling gateway. The stone platform cracked beneath the creature's weight. Zoe took a step back. "That is not good." Rumi raised her hand slowly. "Everyone stay back." The creature emerged from the vortex piece by piece. Its gigantic horned head rose above the platform as burning eyes illuminated the temple. A demon older than any legend had arrived. The Titan demon forced its colossal body through the gateway. Crimson lightning flashed across its black volcanic armor-like skin. Mira stared upward in disbelief. "That thing is enormous." Jinu shook his head slowly. "I've never seen anything like it." The demon stepped down from the portal platform. Each footstep cracked the basalt floor beneath it. Lava glowed brighter through the fractures spreading across the stone. The Titan began walking slowly across the chamber toward the humans. Zoe watched it approach, barely breathing. "It's moving toward us." Jinu spoke calmly. "Stay calm." The demon's burning eyes locked onto the hunters. Mira's voice dropped to a whisper. "Rumi, it sees us." Rumi nodded slowly. "I know." The Titan lowered its massive head, studying them carefully. "You opened the gate." The demon's deep voice echoed through the chamber. Rumi stepped forward slightly despite the danger. "We didn't mean to." Behind her, Zoe and Mira watched the creature carefully. Zoe whispered nervously, "Why is it talking to her?" Mira answered quietly, "Because it knows something." The Titan slowly turned toward the ancient portal mechanism behind it. The creature seemed to recognize the structure. Then it raised one enormous claw toward the temple floor. "The temple has chosen you." Suddenly, the runes beneath Rumi ignited with bright crimson light. Energy spread outward across the basalt floor like veins of fire. Jinu rushed toward her immediately. "Rumi, move!" he shouted. Rumi tried stepping away, but the runes glowed beneath her feet. I can't. The runes are reacting. The Titan watched the glowing stone carefully. You are the key. Behind them, Mira and Zoe stared at the expanding runic patterns spreading across the temple floor. What does that mean? Zoe asked. Mira studied the glowing carvings. The temple is connected to her. The rune circle grew larger, spreading across the chamber floor. The Titan slowly turned his head toward the portal mechanism again. Then it began walking towards the ancient structure. Each step of the demon cracked the volcanic floor beneath it. Mira and Zoe watched the creature reach the portal platform. Zoe whispered nervously, "It's trying to control it." Mira shook her head. "No, it's activating something." The Titan placed one massive claw onto the runic control pillar beside the portal. Energy surged through the portal rings instantly. The vortex exploded with brighter crimson light. The gates of the demon realms will open again. But across the chamber, something else had awakened. Jinu felt the change in the air first. "Did you feel that?" he asked quietly. Rumi looked towards the darkness between the pillars. Yes, another presence had entered the temple. The Titan slowly turned his head towards the shadows. Something massive moved between the obsidian pillars. Zoe stared into the darkness.
It's going back to the portal.
No! Mira
It's
nodded
activating
slowly.
something.
And it's huge. From between the pillars stepped another giant creature, a massive winged demon older than the temple itself. The ancient demon spread its enormous wings as it faced the Titan across the chamber. For a moment, the entire temple became silent. Then the two demons moved. The Titan raised its claw. The guardian demon lunged forward first. Their collision shook the entire temple. Stone shattered beneath their enormous bodies. Across the chamber, the hunters watched the giants collide in violent combat. The pillars trembled as fragments of stone fell from the ceiling. Mira shouted over the noise, "The pillars are collapsing!" Zoe looked up at the cracking ceiling. "This whole place is falling apart!" The Titan grabbed the guardian demon and hurled it across the chamber. Rumi watched the battle unfolding before her eyes. The key must remain. The battle between the two giants shook the entire temple. Every udar of their claws cracked the volcanic floor beneath them. Rumi watched the collapsing chamber while lava burned through widening fissures in the basalt. Jinu looked around the shaking pillars and shouted over the noise, "The whole temple is collapsing!" Rumi kept her eyes on the portal platform. "Then we have to stop that portal." Across the chamber, the ancient demon slammed its massive wings against the Titan demon. The udar echoed through the obsidian pillars like thunder. Fragments of volcanic stone began falling from the ceiling as the battle grew more violent. Zoe looked up as debris rained down around them. "Those things are destroying everything." Mira grabbed her arm and pulled her closer to the pillar. "Stay behind the pillar." With terrifying strength, the Titan demon lifted the guardian demon and threw it across the chamber. The ground shook as the massive creature crashed into the volcanic stone floor. But the glowing runes beneath Rumi continued burning brighter. The temple was still reacting to her presence. Jinu grabbed Rumi's arm as the portal vortex expanded above the ancient platform. "Rumi, the portal is getting bigger." Rumi stared into the swirling crimson storm. "I can see something inside it." Inside the vortex, another world slowly appeared. Zoe stared into the gateway in disbelief. "That's another world." Mira looked closer at the burning landscape inside the portal. A demon world. Beyond the gateway stretched a vast volcanic landscape. Mountains of fire rose beneath a red sky, and in the distance, something enormous dominated the horizon. A massive fortress towered above the burning wasteland. Jinu stared at the distant city inside the portal. "If that portal stays open," Rumi finished the thought quietly, "that world will come here." Behind them, the battle between the two demons continued tearing the temple apart. Massive pillars cracked and collapsed as shockwaves rolled across the basalt floor. Rumi stepped closer toward the portal platform, despite the chaos around her. Jinu immediately moved after her. "Rumi, that's too dangerous." Rumi shook her head. "If no one stops it, the portal will open completely." Across the chamber, the Titan demon slammed the ancient demon into the volcanic floor again. Shockwaves rippled across the stone as the giant creatures collided. Zoe watched the battle nervously. Those demons are going to destroy the temple. Mira looked toward Rumi near the portal platform. Then Rumi has to close the portal fast. Rumi finally reached the ancient portal platform. The swirling vortex burned above her like a storm of red lightning. Jinu ran toward her across the cracked basalt floor. Rumi, wait! But Rumi placed her hand onto the glowing runic control pillar. Instantly, the ancient mechanism roared to life. Energy surged through the stone rings surrounding the gateway as runes across the temple floor ignited brighter than ever. Across the chamber, Mira and Zoe watched the vortex begin to destabilize. Zoe shouted toward the platform, "It's working!" Mira nodded. "Keep going, Rumi." The swirling portal suddenly began collapsing inward. Crimson lightning twisted violently through the shrinking vortex. "The portal is breaking," Rumi said. But beside the collapsing gateway, the two demons continued fighting. The Titan demon tried forcing its way toward the platform. Jinu looked up in alarm. "He's trying to stop her." Before the Titan could reach the platform, the ancient demon attacked again. The winged guardians slammed into the Titan, blocking its path as the temple shook around them. Their enormous bodies crashed across the volcanic floor while pillars shattered nearby. The entire chamber trembled violently. Rumi and Jinu ran away from the platform as waves of unstable energy spread across the stone. Across the temple, Mira and Zoe dodged falling debris. Zoe shouted over the thunder of collapsing stone. "The ceiling is coming down!" Mira grabbed her and pulled her forward. "Move!" Behind them, the Titan demon hurled the Guardian demon against a massive pillar once more. The impact shattered the stone column. Rumi stopped for a moment and looked back toward the portal. The vortex was collapsing faster. Across the chamber, Zoe and Mira watched the shrinking gateway. Zoe whispered in disbelief, "Is it closing?" Mira nodded slowly. "I think so." Then the crimson storm inside the portal imploded violently. The Titan demon and the ancient demon were still locked in battle beside the collapsing gateway when the vortex began tearing itself apart. Rumi and Jinu watched the unstable energy spiral inward. "It's breaking apart," Jinu said. Rumi nodded. "Good, that means it's closing." The Titan demon roared in fury as the portal energy continued fading. Across the temple, Mira and Zoe watched the vortex shrink smaller and smaller. "That demon looks angry," Zoe said nervously. "Because the gate is disappearing," Mira replied. The temple shook again as massive fragments of stone broke away from the towering pillars. Jinu pulled Rumi farther away from the portal platform. Behind them, the Titan demon threw the Guardian demon across the chamber again in a final desperate attack. Rumi turned back toward the collapsing gateway. "The portal is almost gone." The swirling crimson vortex shrank into a small sphere of unstable energy. Zoe watched the glowing sphere trembling in the air. "It's closing!" Mira exhaled slowly. "Then we survive this." With one final violent flash, the portal imploded. The crimson storm vanished. The Titan demon roared as the gateway disappeared completely. Rumi and Jinu stared at the now empty portal platform. "The portal is closed," Jinu said quietly. The temple slowly began falling silent. Ash drifted through the ruined chamber as the last echoes of the battle faded into darkness. Zoe and Mira approached them carefully across the cracked basalt floor. Zoe looked around the shattered temple. "Is it finally over?" Rumi stared at the empty platform where the gateway once burned. The last crimson sparks faded from the ancient runes carved into the stone. She looked into the darkness of the ruined temple and spoke quietly. "This isn't the end."
Is it finally over? It's over. We did it.
The gate to oblivion opens. Our reign begins now. Let the cycle conclude. This isn't the end.
No, it's not.